Hello BookTube, it's Eleanor here and it's time for my April TBR already. I'm not going to be talking about loads and loads of books for April because I am trying to leave it a little bit more open. I'm going to talk about the buddy reads that I'll be doing, picking my BookTuber recommends book, and then I'm going to be leaving it a little bit open to picking for myself. I'm not going to be talking about the books that I am doing for a readathon. There's a readathon taking place called the Genreathon between the 10th and 17th of April, which is run by four lovely ladies of BookTube, because I will be putting a TBR video up for that soon, so watch out for that to find out the books for that. But let's just look at the books that I've got planned. So the first book I'm going to be reading, I will be reading on my own, but it's for part of something called #Beyond the Cover, and this is being organised by some bloggers. And it is, you sign up to read a particular book of your choice, but one that has an adaptation that you can watch, and then you talk about the book and the film. And after doing that earlier a couple of months ago, I really enjoyed reading a book and then watching the film. And so I have picked American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. I've always wanted to read this and see the film, and so this is a prime opportunity for me to do that. So I will be reading this towards the beginning of the month so that I can then watch the film and get my thoughts together and make a video on this. So watch this space for a video on the book versus the movie. Next up, I read Alexandre Dumas' The Count of Monte Cristo last year with the lovely Jackie Kate, who is a subscriber, and we decided we were going to read one of his other books together this month, and we're going to be reading The Three Musketeers. So I can't wait to read this with her. We'll probably read it over the course of the month like we did with The Count of Monte Cristo, and catch up at the end of every day on our sort of 50 pages or whatever. And I'm really excited about reading this story. I've watched quite a few of the adaptations, TV dramas and films, and so I kind of know the story, but I love Dumas' writing and I really enjoyed The Count of Monte Cristo, and I've heard this is very funny, so I can't wait to get stuck in. Next up, I will be starting a new series with Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings, and we're going to be reading Mage's Blood by David Hare together. This is part of the Moontide Quartet, which Caitlin from Kitty G raved about, and so we both decided we were going to read this. And the front, it says if you love Game of Thrones, you'll want to read this. Well, I do love Game of Thrones, so that is a tick in the box for me. I believe this is the story set in a fantastical world about a bridge that sort of comes up. What does it say? Every 12 years the tides sink and the Leviathan Bridge rises above the waves, linking the eastern and western continents and allowing the Rondian Emperor, overlord of the West, to march his crusading armies across Antioquia. And by the time the East is ready, but this time the East is ready. As two civilizations clash, three ordinary people, a failed mage, a jaded mercenary and a lowly market girl, are about to discover that their actions may determine the fate of nations. It just sounds right up my street in terms of epic fantasy, and I can't wait to get stuck into this one. Next up is a book that is a long time coming, and me and Lauren from the books are going to be reading Harper Lee's Go Set a Watchman. I love To Kill a Mockingbird. It is without a doubt my favourite book of all time, and I bought this when it came out and just couldn't bring myself to read it because I was hearing so many negative things. But me and Lauren have decided we're going to read it together. We'll hold each other's hands, and fingers crossed that it is a good read for me. So I'm really excited to be finally getting to this one. Next up, with Caitlin from Kitty G and Tanya from List Obsessed Reader, and maybe some others, I'm not 100% sure, we're going to be reading Princess Barry by Hwang Sok Yong, and I'm really intrigued by this one. This is a story set in 1983 about the seventh daughter of a couple who are desperate for a son, and so they abandon her. She is taken in by her grandmother, who names her Barry, which is named after a Korean, I think. It's a Korean legend of a similar forsaken princess who undertakes a quest for an elixir that will bring peace to the souls of the dead, which sounds very magical realism-y. And I believe that she can, she discovers in adolescence that she can commune with maybe the dead or animals. yeah, I'm really excited and intrigued to read this one. It sounds very magical and interesting, and I think the book's really beautiful. It's got French flaps, which I really like, so I can't wait to read this with the lovely lady. Next up, with Caitlin from Kitty G as well, I'm going to be reading The Winds of Calico, which is by Bradley Bolio. This is a new book in a series, although older than the book The 12 Kings, which I read last month. This is a book that came out before that, but by the same author, and I really loved 12 Kings, so I wanted to read another one of his books, and this was the start of a series that is out. This is about sort of an archipelago of 7 islands set on these mountainous things in the air that are serviced by airships, and I think there's gods and intrigue and politics, and I just can't wait to read this and see what I think. With the lovely Janet from Swirly Girly Reads, we are going to be reading A Song for Issy Bradley by Caris Bray together. I loved Caris Bray's short story collection, Sweet Home. I gave it 5 stars. It's brilliant. Janet has also read that now and loved it, and we both had this and decided that it was about time we both read it. I was gifted this wonderful book by the wonderful Jen from Jen Campbell. I won it in one of her competitions a long time ago, and I am kicking myself now for not reading it straight away, but I will be picking it out with Janet, and I just can't wait to try it out. I believe it's a story of the loss of a child. It's about a family and how they cope with that, and Caris Bray's writing is beautiful, and she really manages to tap into my emotions, so I'm sure this is going to be quite an emotional buddy read. And then the final thing that I am setting myself to read this month will come from my BookTuber recommends jar, so let's see what that is. It's exciting. This one. And the one that is picked is Shadowfell, and this was picked for me by Tanya from List Obsessed Reader. Shadowfell is by Juliette Marillier. I don't know anything about this. Let's find out. It says, its name is spoken only in whispers of if the people of Alban dare to speak it at all. Shadowfell, the training ground for rebels seeking to free their land from the grip of the tyrannical king, is so shrouded in mystery that most believe it to be a myth. But for Nerin, Shadowfell's existence is her only hope. She is penniless, orphaned and utterly alone, and concealing a treacherous magical power that will warrant her immediate enslavement should it be revealed. She finds allies in the good folk, fey beings whom she must pretend she cannot see, and who taunt her with chatter of prophecies and tests, and in a striking mysterious stranger who saves her from certain death, but whose motives remain unclear. She knows she should not trust anyone with her plans, but something within her longs to confide in him. Will Nerin be forced to make the dangerous journey alone? She must reach Shadowfell not only to avenge her family and salvage her own life, but to rescue Alban itself. So this sounds really magical, and I know that Tanya loved it, so I can't wait to give it a go myself. So that's the books that I've got planned for April. Obviously I will be reading more than that, or hopefully I will be reading more than that, but we shall see. And obviously there are some books that I haven't mentioned here that you will see in my Genreathon TBR, so keep an eye out for that video. Anyway, I look forward to hearing what you're all reading in April. Let me know if you've read any of these and what your thoughts are. Let's chat as always in the comments, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.